If you ever caught yourself humming, tapping, or pacing while you're trying to focus, or notice someone else doing it, you're definitely not alone. And today we're going to talk about why exactly us ADHDers always need to do that. Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Yanina, cognitive psychologist, ADHD coach, and ADHD myself. Whether you've been officially diagnosed or deep diving into the internet rabbit holes trying to figure out if ADHD might be part of your story, I've been there. ADHD is like having a brain that's always full throttle, switching gears without warning or not having any breaks. It's definitely a lot to handle, and for some of us, stimming or self-stimulatory behavior is a way to cope. But what exactly is stimming? Stimming isn't exclusive to us ADHDers and it can happen to anyone. However, for us ADHDers and ASDers, we're definitely more likely to engage in stimming. And it's usually a conscious attempt to either improve focus, self-soothe, or release any excess energy. So for example, people might fidget, bite their nails, twirl their hair, or tap their pencils, and some might even find themselves humming, whistling, or making repetitive sounds. So let's go through some examples of stimming behaviors and see if you can identify with any one of those. So the first one is visual, so that could be repetitive blinking, doodling, or arranging objects, or flipping through your pages. It could be verbal, so you're humming, you're whistling, repeating words, or you're clicking your tongue. For example, my nephew, he always hums at school, especially if he is stressed. Another one is auditory, so listening to the same song over and over again, or making these repetitive noises. Another one is tactile, so nail biting, picking your cuticles, scratching yourself, pulling hair, chewing the inside of your cheeks, or like rubbing your fingers or tapping your fingers. Could also be vestibular, so you're, for example, rocking back and forth, you're pacing, or you're tapping your feet or bouncing your legs. So why do so many ADHDers or ASDers stim? And of course, the reasons can always vary. For someone with ADHD, it could be connected to boredom, overstimulation, stress, or just overwhelm. So for example, you're in a noisy, crowded room with bright lights everywhere. That's overwhelming, right? And stimming can help us feel more calm in that chaos and create just a sense of control. So if you now notice that you are doing stimming behaviors, what can you do to manage it? Let's start off by saying that stimming isn't inherently bad. It's a form of a coping mechanism, but once stimming starts to hurt you or cause you pain in any sort of way, it's definitely bad. However, stimming can also be a sign of just stress or that you're heading towards burnout. So it could also be a good reminder or sign that something is wrong or that something is not going well. So if you want to manage your stimming, the first step would be to just take a moment to evaluate what's going on right before you start that stimming behavior. Is it maybe stress, boredom, anxiety? Sometimes it's the environment itself, like the bright lights or loud noises that can be very overwhelming. And the key here is to figure out what's the trigger in this behavior. Is it the external stimuli, like the noisy classroom, or a stressful situation? Or is it internal, like you're anxious or you're bored? And once you identify that trigger, you can work on eliminating them or at least reducing them. And if the stimming is caused by overstimulation, you could create, for example, a calmer environment, like putting on noise-canceling headphones, dimming bright lights, or even changing out the light bulbs to a more warmer light that is more comforting to you. Or if you're currently in a situation that is very overwhelming, maybe you can see if there is a quieter area, room, or even the bathroom that you can go to just quickly recharge, do practice some mindfulness, and then go back to that more stressful situation. It could also be helpful to stick more to a routine. And ADHDers thrive in chaos, but routines help us to reduce stress and prevent the need for stimming. For example, be following more of a schedule at work or for daily tasks, just to have more consistency and predictability, which can also help you feel more at calm and peace and reduce any stimming. Also keep in mind that if you are stimming and you don't want to be doing that anymore, or not to that degree, that if you just try to push that stimming behavior away, it's probably not going to work. And the best way is to redirect it. So if you notice that you're picking your skin and that's not good, you're hurting yourself, definitely not good, then try to redirect it. Try to introduce a stress ball or more of a soothing stimming tool, or for example, tangle fidgets. You can also always seek out help from a therapist. So you could get CBT, you could go to talking therapy, you could go to an ADHD coach, and that can also help you to learn and figure out some more strategies that are helpful for you. Also, like I said in the beginning, stimming is not inherently bad and can also be helpful in some ways, depending on how you do practice that stimming. So it could also be a mindful stimming. So for example, pacing or rocking back and forth, or flapping your hands, or using certain calming fidgets like the tangle fidget or the putty. So at the end of the day, stimming is just one piece of this huge ADHD puzzle, and it's not something to be ashamed of. Like you learn now, it can in fact help and be a form of mindful stimming, and it's just another way for our brain to navigate that confusing and loud and overwhelming world. And there's not one size fits all solution, so just try different strategies, see what feels best to you, and that can also change throughout life and through the different seasons that you're going through. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and drop a comment below. Do you know someone who's stimming, or are you stimming, and how do you manage it? So let's keep the conversation going down in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye!